Introduce yourself is about yourself, right? Raj.
Yes, I will.
So he's working for a company which is trailblazing consulting firm, which is also called TCS. So he spent a lot of time, he's an author, he's a trainer, he's an HR generalist, he's an HR innovator, technologist, everything rolled into one. Naam bhi Raja hai.
No, Raja is there, I'm just Raj.
Raj hi to Raj karta hai.
I just have additional layer.
Our career growth, couple of things that I have learned during my tenure with GE and TCS and other organizations that I worked for. So number one is, I was told that never focus on the domain that you work in. And I was wondering at that point in time, because everybody says that you should focus on your domain. For example, if I'm in HR, and after 20 years I'm good in performance management, what is so great about it? I'm supposed to. If I'm not good in my work, and if I'm doing that work for 20 years, somebody will kick me. So I can at best outsource that to my boss. Because if I don't, he will kick me out. So number one, the model that I learned was number one focus should be business acumen. Business acumen is nothing but your ability to anticipate global trends. Know the language of business, that is finance, P&L understanding, commercial savviness, pricing ability. And number two, I was taught that focus on change management. Your ability to bring all the stakeholders along. Whether you use Six Sigma methodologies, TQM, jamming, whatever principles you use. Third was the domain expertise. So number one, business acumen. Second, change management. Third is your domain expertise. And in the middle, your own design principles or values is what you need to work on. So that's number one thing that I learned. Second is, when we work in offices, I see a lot of people that are overworked. There is a stress, and so for that we thought of, this model has worked for me. So there are things in office which you can do without. If you don't do, it will not make much of a difference. And then there are things which are nice to do things. If you do it, it's great. Even if you don't do it, it doesn't make a difference. And then third quadrant is important. Now, all the things that are important, you must do it. And the fourth is the urgent. So you should never let anything go into the urgent quadrant. So, can do without, one quadrant. Second is nice to do. Third is important. So anything that is important, you should work on. And make sure nothing goes into the urgent category. Because if it is urgent, then it's a problem. So this is the second thing I learned. Third was never focus on designations. Was the mantra that I got from my bosses. Now when you look at organizational structures are like this. They are not like this. You have 100,000 vice president and 100 people working. Right? It's like 90% of the people are at staff level, irrespective of the industry you sit. 4 to 7% people are at the middle management. And 2 to 3% are at the top level. That's across the board. And you need 14 to 15 years to get to the top level, howsoever stud you are. So in that context, the key learning was focus on capability building. So when we say staff level, there is a set of 15, 20 competencies. For middle management, there is a set of competencies. When you go to the top level, then there are a set of competencies. Like I talked about a few of them, like change management ability, pricing ability, commercial savviness, ability to deal with ambiguity, positivity in chaos, nose for talent, coaching and mentoring ability, political acumen, etc. So 3 things I have talked about. That model, business acumen, change management ability. Third is domain, and middle is your design principle, which is values. Second, I have talked about focus on capability building across staff, middle and top. And third, I have talked about those 4 quadrants in terms of can do without, nice to do, important and urgent. So important will take care of your 80% of the things that Pareto talks about. Your 20% of the stuff will make 80% of the impact. So these are the 3 things I thought I will talk about. My 5 minutes is over, so I'm open for those 2-3 questions, whatever you want to ask.
So any questions on what, as an HR leader, as an HR manager, you think Raj can help you with to grow into the next level guy, which you ever dreamt about? He's here for you.
I have a question, Raj.
Yes.
I spoke about VUCA. So in today's dynamic scenario, someone asked this question to me and I'm asking this to you. As an HR at leadership level, what skills do you think are important for anyone as an HR business leader to survive?
Okay.
Or
Now-
attributes?
Now, if you look at it in the industry, now there are some buzzwords which keeps coming up. VUCA is not a new term. It came from way back in 1990s. So these words will keep coming up. Now, when you look at how do you survive and thrive in any scenarios, the thing that model that I have given you, if you're good in business acumen is your ability to anticipate global trends. Now, if you look at it, the global economy, which is roughly around 75 trillion, and see what is happening. So, if you see there is a 1% degrowth in China, and the whole world take note of that, right? If there is a deceleration in US, 0.5%, the whole world is sneezing. If India grows by 7 to 8 or 9%, does it make a difference? Those are the perspectives that we need to build in. Because when I was, getting myself better on this, I was looking at this Greece going down at that point in time. And when I was looking at their economy size, almost half a decade back, it was $200 billion. If you put them and Pakistan roughly to $250 odd billion, Walmart at that point in time was having larger revenue. So how do you build those perspective becomes critical. So what has kept me in a good stead is this model: business acumen, change management ability, and domain experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What would you advise for reskilling to the
Millennials.
millennials?
Millennials don't take your advice. So don't advise them, because my kid is also there. So I think it is like, what do we learn from them? We cannot change them. We have to adapt. And once we adapt, that respect develop. And then they listen to you. Because people say, tell millennials, ask half of those leaders if their children listen to them. This is the fact of the matter.
So that is Gen Z. Sorry. That is
Whatever, these are the concepts we will put it.
Listen. Millennials still listen. Gen Z do not listen.
This is fine. I think
Passion to prove herself there, and she's never been to Bombay in her life. So she founded a flat on a WhatsApp. She founded modeling agency on a WhatsApp because I had refused. I'm actually blocked on Instagram. So if I have to watch her movies and everything, I have to go to my mother. So that is, but she has a desire. Every millennium or every Gen Z has a burning passion. Just need to connect them. And as he rightly said, in the armed forces, if you can't die and run for 16 kilometers, how can you ask a soldier to run for 16 kilometers? Simple as that.
Great.
Yes.
Yes.
To add to that, when I was talking about the students, we try and tell them what you need to do to achieve your goal, for which you have joined a certain course or why you are studying, right? If you want to be a CFO tomorrow and you have joined Bachelor's of Commerce, we tell them from the first year what you need to skill yourself on. But somehow, somewhere down the line, they only understand it by the third year.
Yeah.
They don't understand it in the first 2 years. Because the need arises, the criticality, they realize it by the last year only, and that's when the entire focus, comes in there. So very rightly said, when the need arises, they'll do anything.
Just pick a phone, talk to Steven Spielberg, and tell him to give that movie, Time Machine. Or use AI to deliver a video. You want to be there? You want to be Steve Jobs? Not tomorrow. Do that. For that, you have to come to Varanasi also for meditation.
Good. Any other question?
I think that was very insightful when you said that we should not look for designations.
Yes.
I think when you look for roles and when you look for projects, actually what you're doing is, in your own way, you're investing those 9 hours to build your own experience and expertise by which you one edge above the others in the market. So very often, we tend to look at the designation, but I always believe that we should go for roles. We should go what job we are doing, what contribution we are making, because that is what actually we carry wherever we
Yes.
are going, and not the roles, because the organization may change, things can change, but the only thing that we carry with ourselves is a role and what we work with. So that is
Right.
that actually affirms and validates.
Actually, I
me
learned
a
it
lot.
being in HR. I have created and worked with 3 organizations restructuring their roles. So we said we will create that. So, but if you're not focused on that, because largely in organizations we are focused on our peer group. If somebody has got promoted, I am
Yes.
developing that stress, right, and that designation. If you focused on capability building, as I said, that model, then if your capacity is there, you are up there. If your existing organization doesn't give you an opportunity, you can always step aside to move forward. So that is an opportunity. I'm left with 3 more minutes. So any more question?
Yeah, one question.
Yes.
So I talk about that in our time, parents were focused only on the education, academics.
Yes.